the Twitter files dropped, the second one. I want to remind everybody that this is just proof and confirmation that the Democratic Party was using their influence to censor on social media, because here's Ed Markey, Democratic senator, and here's what he says the problem with censorship is on social media.
The issue is not that the companies before us today are taking too many posts down. The issue is that they're leaving too many dangerous posts up.
Okay, so that's a very powerful senator, one of the most powerful 50 people in the world.
Yeah. Making a passionate Mr. Gorbachev build up this wall.
So Barry Weiss was given these set of leaks. So I just want to go through them really quick, and I want to highlight the stuff that I think is really important. A new Twitter Files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees build blacklists, prevent disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limit the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret without informing users. So this is about shadow banning and then all this other stuff that goes along with it. And so now I've told you that whenever I have a popular tweet, I'll notice that likes get taken away from it. So like I have a tweet, whenever I'm trending now, I will like to retweet a video that I put out explaining that I don't criticize Democrats because I side with Republicans. I criticize Democrats because they do. And so I've noticed that people... not only will my retweet be taken, it won't show up, but other people have said, hey, I've liked this now 3 times, this post. They keep taking my likes away. I've seen a like disappear from a post, not of mine, but of someone else, of Michael Tracy's. Right in front of my eyes, I saw the like disappear. Yeah. So there's some algorithm that limits your like. So
YouTube's
you can't.
Got one too. They all got them.
YouTube's got it too. That's right. YouTube then they just flat out started hiding the dislikes. Yeah. So you couldn't see when somebody got ratioed. Yeah. 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 So that's what this is. This is how, and so I know my account has been somehow shadow banned and it's gotten some shitty. It's just amazing, right? So Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. Along the way, barriers nevertheless were erected. So remember this guy? We brought him on, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. He was on with Dr. Martin Kulldorff. And who were they? They were, he was a signatory, one of the writers of the Barrington Declaration. And what was the Barrington Declaration? That was a bunch of scientists and smarty pants doctors got together and they had a different idea on how to take care of COVID, different than what Big Pharma and Fauci said. Their ideas was that that lockdowns had no science behind them and they would be detrimental to children. He was proven right. Now, why do and that they should target how they take care of COVID by targeting the elderly and people with comorbidities, and don't do anything to everyone else. Let us just get it and have herd immunity, and would build up herd immunity that way. Everybody could get this, they were saying, except for if you're elderly or sick. Turns out he was right. And it did harm children. Why do I show you that? Because they revealed he was being shadow banned. It says, take, for example, Stanford. So he's from Stanford, and he's one of the leading guys in the field, right? He argued that COVID lockdowns would harm children. Twitter secretly placed him on a trends blacklist.
They have a nice button for them to see on their end.
So this is the what if you are at Twitter and you're one of the people in charge of censoring, this is what your screenshot would look like when you look. If you looked at Jay Bhattacharya, you would get all this stuff: strike count, trends blacklist, recent abuse strike, and then they would give you who he is, but they would also let you look at his DMs if you wanted. Oh, so Twitter. Looking at your DMs whenever they feel like it. Just so you know, your DMs, your direct messages to other people on Twitter, completely readable by people who work for Twitter, and they do read them. So that's Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, friend of the show, leader in his field. So when they started, everybody, Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian and the Young Turks all assured me that it would just be for Alex Jones. And I had to inform them about history because they don't read history. They don't know anything about history. Right. They don't know anything about news.
Well,
and
they wouldn't have picked the name the Young Turks if they did.
If they did, they probably wouldn't pick the Young Turks. But they did. I had to tell them that, no, they're going to use that. That's the that's the Trojan horse. Now they're going to get everybody else. And of course, so it went from Alex Jones to the leading scientists and doctors in their field to ex-presidents of the United States now it's just that. So you see where that, and so I was proven 100% right, and here we are. And so she shows Don Bongino. He was put on a search blacklist. So if you tried to search for him on Twitter, he was blacklisted so hard you couldn't find him. He was also on he had notification spike, whatever that means. But look at the other ones: Twitter Blue verified, multiple accounts, strike count, not safe for work view, and SPMA. I wonder what that means.
Not safe for work. Is that because you could get fired for your job for doing research?
For doing research.
Bungie, yeah.
Here's another one, Charlie Kirk. So these are right wingers. So they're trying to make it look like they were only banning right wingers. Now, I'm obviously a far left winger. I'm farther left than anybody in the Democratic Party, including AOC and Bernie. I'm way left of Bernie and AOC. Way left. They're war pigs. For some reason, they're trying to make it look like this was only happening to right-wing people. It was also happening to anybody who was going against the establishment narrative. For them, fortunately, the Democratic Party was setting the establishment narrative. So now the Democratic narrative is usually the establishment narrative. So if you're on the quote-unquote left or the Democratic Party, you're probably not going to get as banned as these guys who are. But I certainly, okay, so you got that, right? So Twitter, so what did it say? So Twitter denied that it did this kind of thing. That's why this is a story.
Didn't they do it on Rogan? I was talking to him, he said he was pissed off. This lady lied she lied right to his face on the show.
And said that they didn't shadow ban.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had that video. I didn't know that, Kurt, that she's lied on Rogan. So she was the head of legal policy. That's that Vijay Gotti. She was the head of legal policy and trust. And Kayvon Beckpour, head of product, said, we do not shadow ban. They added, and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology. And that's all they seem to do. They seem to do that almost exclusively.
Well, they don't call it that. It's like how gain of function research, I call it gain of Fauci research. Right? We don't do gain of function. It's visibility filtering.
That's it. So they don't call it shadow banning. At Twitter, they call it visibility filtering or VF. Multiple high-level sources confirmed its meaning. Think about visibility filtering as being a way for us, meaning Twitter, to suppress what people see to different levels. It's a very powerful tool.
It's kind of like a shadowy...
It's kind of like a shadowy censorship. Virtual... what does that stand for again?
VF.
VF refers to Twitter's control over user visibility. It used virtual visibility to block searches of individual users, to limit the scope of particular tweets' discoverability, to block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending pages, and from inclusion in hashtag searches. Plus, they never mention this thing that I've picked up on, that they take likes away.
Yeah.
They take likes away from tweets that they don't want to be popular.
They do that on every platform. You can watch things disappear. That happens all the time.
So they're doing, but keep this in mind. They're doing all of this without the Twitter users' knowledge. This was all clandestine. They didn't ever tell you they were doing this, even though now people are pretending they did. We're going to get to that. That's another story. We control visibility quite a bit. This is Twitter talking. And we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. This is what I've been talking about. Those guys at The Intercept, they can tweet about nothing. Mm-hmm. They can tweet about a fart and they'll get 100,000 likes on their tweet.
Yeah, right.
And that's because they're on an algorithm, they're billionaire friendly algorithm because they work for billionaires. That amplified their tweets and suppressed everyone else's tweets. So it's not a fair playing field. When you're out there having a debate with these guys on Twitter, it looks like you're in the wrong because you are getting so hard ratioed, but you're getting ratioed because they're being propped up artificially by the algorithm of Twitter. And I knew it, and we've been calling it out for over 2 years.
Oh, wait, so that's why there's all this weird support for things that make no sense and are the opposite of reality all the time?
All the time. That's right. We control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do.
What is this, the Outer Limits opening? We control the horizontal and the vertical. Do not change.
The group that decided whether to limit the reach of certain users was called the Strategic Response Team, Global Escalation Team, or the SRT-GET.
How does the SRT deal with stories about SBF for the downfall of FTX? And will AOC's... will the SEC get involved with it? AOC?
About the JFK files?
Yeah.
It often handled up to 200 cases a day. Okay. But there existed a level beyond official ticketing.
How does people not, has anybody not think conspiracies are real? Oh, there's a secret level? Like,
right?
Is it the Freemasons now?
Right? But there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond the rank and file moderators following the company's policy on paper. That is the site integrity policy escalation support, known as SIPPES. SIPPES. This secret group included head of legal, policy, and trust, Vijay J. Gotti, and global head of trust and safety, this guy, Yolo Roth.
Roth.
Subsequent CEOs, Jack Dorsey and Parag Aragawi, and others were in this secret group. Now, people will tell you this wasn't a secret group. Oh, what do you mean? People who work at high levels of the company got together and had a meeting? That's not a secret group. It is if you don't tell anybody that there's a group called this.
And also they know it is.
And of course, everybody knows it's a secret group.
So SIPPES was Vagina Daddy, YOLO Roll. YOLO Roll.
This is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made in that secret group, SIPPES. Think higher follower account, controversial. Another Twitter employee told us, for these, there would be no ticket or anything. So they would keep it totally black, totally opaque. You wouldn't know what they were doing or even who they're talking about because they don't even want to have a paper trail. There's no ticket or nothing.
Wow.
Super.
Sounds like a nothing burger.
Sounds like a nothing burger, huh? It's so nothing that they had to do double layers of fucking secrecy, and they wouldn't even put anything on paper. They wouldn't even make a ticket.
When that Vijaya Gotti and Jack were on Rogan, the second one that had Tim Pool on it, she was so transparently lying. It was unbelievable.
I caught it. We did videos on it. We called out her lying. She was lying about Russiagate and what they were doing with Russiagate. One of the accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok. Now, if you know anything about Libs of TikTok, this is a Twitter or that takes. Well, they don't make any commentary. They take videos that liberals have posted to their own TikToks.
She'll say things in her thing, but she's not editing their.
Right.
It's just TikToks. They're short.
So she'll just show unedited videos of what liberals are saying online, and a lot of it is crazy. A lot of it is crazy. And that's what I talk about. I go, look at the environment that people are allowed. Like, we're living where you can just call somebody a Russian, or you can just call somebody a Putin puppet, or you could just smear somebody as a conspiracy theorist or this is the environment we're living in. And so TikTok plays these videos that shows the environment we're living in. I've only seen a couple. All of them I've seen are crazy, but they say that, so they didn't like Libs of TikTok.
Right, because the narrative is inconvenient, like Balenciaga.
That's right.
The right-wingers think there's groomers. We just had Me Too, by the way. You're telling me that groomers, they're hands off the kids. They just go for adult college-age women having a great career in the city. That's the only ones that are under attack?
So one of the accounts that rose was Libs of TikTok, an account that was on the Trends blacklist. So that's called shed. They would never let this account trend. So your tweet, no matter how popular it might be, they're not going to let it be popular. They're going to suppress it from being, they're going to take likes away from it so it doesn't trend.
Can I just say how offensive the SIPPES blacklist is as a title?
And then it was Libs of TikTok was designated do not take action on user without consulting with SitPiss. But if you look over here, if you look over here on the side, it has all the stuff you can do. This is what the administrator at Twitter looks like. This is their page.
Mm-hmm.
And it says over here, user, timeline, spaces, like the videos, communities, guano. What the hell does that mean? You know, that's batshit. That's what guano is. Email, phone, lists, direct messages. So they could just go look at your direct messages. If you are one of these people at Twitter, you can just go look at anybody's. You don't think they did? Of course they did. Of course they did. You don't think the FBI and the CIA are embedded inside Twitter? You don't think that they went after people and got their private shit?
They wouldn't do that.
Of course they did. Of course they did. So look what it says for Libs of TikTok. High profile, active, notification spike, trends blacklist, recent abuse strike, multiple, all this. So this is what it is.
Then there's like a hotline to Taylor Lorenz, I think.
I think so. The account which Chaya Rechik began, she's the person who runs the Libs of TikTok, began in November of 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers. It was subjected to 6 suspensions in 2022 alone. Each time that Libs of TikTok was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter repeatedly informed Rachik that she had been suspended for violating Twitter's policy against hateful conduct.
Yeah. You know, like when Dottie Sandusky said it was hateful and wrong to say Jerry Sandusky's a child molester. It
is hateful. But an internal SitPiss memo from October 2022, after her 7th suspension, the committee acknowledged that Libs of TikTok had not directly engaged in behavior that violated the hateful conduct policy. So they're just banning her.
To ban her.
Because they don't like her. They don't like the content of the information she's sharing. Not that it violates any of their policies. They just don't like it politically because they are in a political different camp. So this is political censorship. Now, you don't have to agree with Libs of TikTok. You don't have to. Doesn't matter. Again, this is just like Donald Trump. It doesn't matter unless someone is breaking a law. They get to have free speech. That's what I think. I'm one of those what they call free speech absolutists. The committee justified her suspensions internally by claiming her posts encourage online harassment of hospitals and medical providers by insinuating that gender-affirming healthcare is equivalent to child abuse or grooming. Compare this, so that's all it took to get. All they had to do was say, "Well, I think she's inciting other people to do bad things." Not that she's doing bad things, but other people might do bad things because of the content she's sharing.
I think giving a small child like a facelift or nose job would be child abuse. What's the crime here? By the way, that's a marketing term, gender affirming healthcare. You mean drugs and stuff. What is the harm of not being into the pharmaceutical and medical industry? Is it going to hurt sales? What's the problem?
So compare this to what happened when she herself, the Libs of TikTok, actually got doxxed and got doxxed on Twitter, where they showed a picture of her house and her address, and it has garnered more than 10,000 likes.
You think they boosted her doxing?
When she told Twitter about it, Twitter support said, "Hey, we reviewed it and reported that we didn't find it in violation of Twitter rules."
Oh, that's
when
good.
she got doxxed. But this is like somebody else might. This they left up because they don't like her.
It's like saying the police have 2 abuses, Jimmy. It's impossible.
In an internal message on Twitter, Twitter employees spoke of using technologies or technicalities to restrict the visibility of tweets and subjects. Here's Yoel Roth, Twitter's then global head of trust and safety, in a direct message to a colleague in early 2021. You want to see what he said? He says a lot of times SI has used I'm going to guess that's a division of SitPiss. A division of SitPiss has used
Technicality.
Technicality spam enforcements as a way to solve a problem created by safety under enforcing their policies. So we're gonna violate the spirit of our own rules.
He thinks he's
that's what he's
Al
saying.
Capone. Like that's what he thinks. So they got Al Capone on taxes and not being a gang.
Yes,
that's what he thinks he is.
He thinks they're fighting Al Capone instead of just a regular citizen with a point of view they don't like.
But it helps the narrative of the other side.
And so he says we're going to violate the spirit of our own rules. So because safety isn't doing their job, which again isn't a problem per se, but it keeps us from. So he's saying what isn't a problem is that they're violating their own rules. Because they're going to ban someone for a technicality instead of the actual and violate the spirit of their own rules.
We'll see the lie. Safety is under enforcing their policies. No, they're not.
That's right.
You want worse policies.
He wants more. Yeah. He wants more.
Oh, YOLO.
So 6 days later, in a direct message with an employee on the Health and Misinformation Privacy and Identity Research team, Yoel Roth requested more research to support expanding non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification visibility filtering. Now, what that means is he was trying to find a way, well, let's not ban them permanently because that gets us a lot of bad press. Let's just try to find ways to bury them. That's what that is. Let's find bullshit ways to bury them. Let's do that. That's what that is.
Let's ship Julian Assange around the world over and over again with no trial for the rest of his life because it would look bad if we kill. Like, that's all the same thought process they all have. These like, get around your rights.
That's right. It's like, I'm right, you're wrong. I know better.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to violate your rights. So I'm going to set society up the way I like society to be set up.
Yes, I read Sam Harris's book.
So it goes on. Glenn Greenwald says people should really take the full works of that guy, what's his name, Yoel Roth, and put it and him on a museum wall. He's the perfect embodiment, a caricature of a snide, arrogant, left liberal elitist who believes the world is better when it's subject to his petty tyrant censorship and authoritarianism. Everything about this guy, the elite institutions and culture in which he's been ensconced, his whole life, how he speaks, how he thinks, how he views people he regards as ordinary and inferior to him, is exactly what is spawning left liberal repression. That's exactly what is spawning left liberal. And you want to see some bullshit that he says? Anyway.
I would just disagree with Glenn that I think that prick Ben Collins from NBC would be the better.
Okay.
If you had to pick between the two, although he's right about both of them.
Then Glenn says, spend all year debating what shadow banning means if you want. Ultimately, it's an imprecise term. The reality is clear. Twitter employees are almost 100% liberal, so they use their censorship power to silence conservatives, but never Dems. That's the story. Now we have proof. So that might be true, never Democrats. I'm not a Democrat, right? The people who they go after like us, we're not Democrats. We're actually, holding the Democrats. We're
betraying them, basically.
Yeah, betraying. So here he is talking about how scary it is. That's that guy, Yoel.
Yeah.
Watch this. So now you know for how they use the algorithm to smear and slander people like me, how they get hit pieces written about me in places like Newsweek calls me the dirtbag love. They have pieces of shit like Dave Weigel at the Washington Post working for the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos, writing smear pieces on YouTubers like me saying I'm a white supremacist and I'm in bed with Nazis and I'm all these, and I'm a conspiracy theorist and all. I've had that done time and time in New York Magazine, everybody on Twitter and their brother, time and time again. Every asshole's got a YouTube channel, has done a million videos about me. So I know what it's like to be slandered, right?
I know what personal, Jimmy. It's just what they do.
I know what it's like. Watch this fucking piece of shit. And they enable it. They just got done enabling the piling on of fucking Matt Taibbi.
Yep.
So you're not supposed to do it to Taylor Lorenz, but when Matt Taibbi does something you don't like, all bets are off. So watch this.
What was that experience like having Kellyanne, who's always in control of herself, and sicking this MAGA trolls on you?
sicking
Kellyanne Conway, right?
Kellyanne Conway. Someone sicked their trolls on you.
Oh my God.
You mean people are writing things on a social media app that I don't have to read? Yes, that's what she means. And watch how he characterizes what it's like to have I have trolls come at me 24/7. 24/7. Watch how the world's biggest pussy deals with this.
Terrifying.
It was
I thought I was
terrifying.
going to be a college professor for a living. I got a PhD and was doing research that nobody cared about, and then I was like, oh, like this platform thing is cool. Like I can go and do research there, and then one thing led to another, and all of a sudden we apply a misinformation label to Donald Trump's account, and I'm on the cover of the New York Post, and that is a deeply terrifying experience. And I say this from a position of
pussiness. That's what I say this as. You're the motherfucker in charge of everybody's speech on Twitter, and you're it was terrified. Somebody found out who I was.
Yeah, he wants anonymity.
I want to be able to control your speech in anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to go out and be able to do public appearances and have nobody ever bother me.
Sounds like also a far-right troll who'd have a fake name and go and screw with you. The same exact mentality.
Yes.
Of I want to sling my thing and I don't want anyone to know.
I don't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
unquestioned privilege as a cis white male. Like, the internet is much scarier and much worse for lots of other people who aren't me, but it was pretty fucking scary for a long time.
Well, it's ironic that he's in charge of censorship and he's using words that you couldn't say on national television because it would be censored. So it's funny that, again, things that he thinks are okay to say in polite company, other people don't. Like CBS, NBC, and ABC, they say you can't say those words. In fact, even the government says you can't say those words. And here he is saying those words.
Well, Jimmy, I just hope that YOLO doesn't feel scared now that what a piece of shit he is everywhere. I hope he doesn't have the same nerves.
I hope it's not terrifying that a YouTube show is showing his words and what a huge, giant fucking pussy he is.
And he just does nothing except not even his job, just Kyle Kalinski's old haircut.
That's all he's got. That's all he's got. Let's listen to more of this.
What was the
As a result
part?
of that, you know, when you get targeted in some of these ways, it's hard to differentiate between what is somebody just online trying to rattle you and what's a real threat. You see in things like Pizzagate that online conspiracies can mobilize.
What about Epstein Island? Was that also an online conspiracy?
Also, Pizzagate didn't mobilize it. One wingnut that read some stuff on the internet went
That's
to
right.
a pizza place. So it didn't mobilize anything.
Didn't mobilize
you liar.
anybody. I know. It's so scary.
It's very real and very direct offline violence. And I worry about that. I had been
Offline violence. Offline violence. That's what? He just made up a term.
This guy's a real piece of shit. I don't even believe his act if he was scared.
I don't
Agreed.
believe. I agree that 100%. I agree.
By the way, I know Mike Cernovich. They try to pin that on this one guy who did not make up Pizzagate. To this day, he's like a curse name in media. He didn't do that. They do this way. This is like the same with the media with like Dungeons and Dragons causes suicide back in the 80s. They have one trick they do over and over again. They rename it. So now it's called stochastic terrorism. That's where you said, hey, I don't know, some about gender affirming care. Well, that could lead to somebody getting mad and telling someone else, and then that could lead to violence. So you're you're stochastically responsible.
Yes.
That's an insane premise, by the way.
That's a word?
Oh yeah,
Stochastically?
they all love it. They've all come up with cutesy little words for real basic obvious shit like censorship. So first was shadow banning. That's not a word angry people made up. That's a word at a convention. So I just came up with an idea called shadow banning. Then that's no good. So the euphemism treadmill goes on, where how you call a hand grenade a area denial weapon. They have that scumbag cop logic government thing where we'll just rename the evil thing we're doing over and over.
Let's see if there's more to this.
doxed years before by teenagers, actually. They're always behind it. But, you know, I saw those harms, I experienced those harms, and now it was those harms through a...
He experienced those harms. What harms did you experience?
He felt nervous, he said. He
Oh,
didn't
he was
know.
nervous.
I didn't know. So I say kill them all and let God sort them out.
When I got doxxed, people were passing around pictures of my house all over social media and Twitter, as if it was I wasn't allowed to
I had newspapers.
have a home.
Not
I'm
just
57 years old. My wife and I have worked our entire lives.
I had the whole media do that to me, and I had one scumbag group get my girlfriend's name, her parents' names, and where her parents work, and put it out like, here's 9 things you need to know about Kurt Metzger's girlfriend. Why would you need to know anything about that? That's what they do, and they think it's fine, and they can't believe, like Taylor Rentz.
Right. You can't believe that anybody would even criticize her back.
He's her. They're all the same.
You're right.
Mainstream news outlet being held up in the Oval Office by the former president of the United States, and that is deeply terrifying.
Deeply terrifying.
Wait, what did
that
he
he was
say?
on, that President Trump held up the New York Post that had his face on it because he's Mr. Censor over at Twitter. And he said it was deeply terrifying.
Well, it didn't scare you into changing your evil ways, did it?
Nope.
It's not that terrifying.
How terrifying? Was it more terrifying, less terrifying than an impeachment? Were you less terrified or more terrified? Glenn says, everyone knows big tech censorship helps Democrats and silences conservatives. That's why Democrats love big tech censorship and conservatives hate it. Not hard. It doesn't matter what documents you show the media employee, they'll dismiss it as a nothing burger because they're hive mind Democrats. One point I'll note, the difference between Democratic liberals and the anti-establishment left, that's right, okay? I'm the anti-establishment left. The anti-establishment left is viewed as the enemy. That's me. I'm the enemy. Like the populist right, because they don't vote Democrat, they're censored too. That's us. So Glenn got it. Big tech loves Amy Klobuchar and Chris Hayes, those types.
By the way, anyone who uses the term nothing burger, I remember when they first dropped that amazing term.
Yeah, nothing burger.
If you use that term, you're a nothing.
You're a nothing sandwich.
Oh
You are a
God.
nothing filet o fish.
Some dimwit, some midwit dimbulb thought that was a clever ass thing, and then they all repeat it like kids at a lunch table. Oh, it's a nothing burger.
So there you go. Now you know that the Twitter wasn't the worst things worse than you can imagine, and they're doing it all based on their own political ideology.
Everything you thought they did, they do. But now we have the records of how clearly they did it, because their story is, no, we don't do that, but also we should do more of it.
Yeah. Let's find a way to do more of it, but we don't of the thing we're not doing. And I'm a good person, which is why I now slander, smear, and hate and condemn Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss for bringing us this information, because they're bad people for telling the truth about something that when it comes to light, it hurts my feelings. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, December 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And we're going to be in Tempe, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.